Space, the final frontier. This is the Observer's Notebook, the official podcast of the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. Its mission to explore the solar system, to seek out new observations and data, to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. And now the host of the Observer's Notebook, Tim Robertson.
Hello and welcome to episode 130 of the Observer's Notebook, the official podcast of the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. My name is Tim Robertson. I'm the host of the Observer's Notebook and also the coordinator of the training program within the ALPO. Thanks for downloading and listening. The ALPO collects and analyzes observations of various solar system bodies and associated phenomena and publishes detailed reports concerning these bodies in its quarterly publication, The Journal of the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. This podcast depends upon donations from you, our listeners, to keep it going. If you enjoy what you hear on the podcast, you can donate to it via Patreon. You can give as little as $1 a month. If you feel even more generous, for $5, you receive early access to the podcast before it goes public. For a monthly donation of $10, you receive a copy of the Novice Observer's Handbook. And for $35 a month, you receive producer credits on the podcast. You can find out more by going to www.patreon.com/observersnotebook. And if you'd like to join the ALPO, membership begins at only $18 a year. For more information, find us at www.alpo-astronomy.org. And we're also on Facebook. Just search for ALPO Astronomy. And this podcast also has a Facebook page as well. Just search for Observer's Notebook. And if you enjoy what you hear on the podcast, please subscribe. That way you'll never miss another episode of the Observer's Notebook. And now, episode 130. And we're going to be talking winter star parties. Hope you enjoy. All right, I'd like to welcome everybody back to this edition of the Observer's Notebook podcast. And guess what? Public star parties are coming back. Isn't that great? And we're going to talk about one in particular today, the Winter Star Party, coming up in January of 2022. And to do that with us is Russ, the president of the Southern Cross Astronomical Society. Welcome to the podcast, Russ.
Hi, Tom. How you doing?
Great. So why don't you give everybody a little bit of background about yourself before we get into talking about the event?
Okay, well, like I said, my name is Russ. I'm actually from Atlantic City, New Jersey. I came to Florida in 2004, and that's when I joined the Southern Cross Astronomical Society. My background is mostly hospitality industry and construction, with a little casino gaming mixed in there.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I've worked for several casinos in poker operations.
All right.
My love of astronomy has been ever since, I guess, I was a little kid. I really, believe it or not, I really wanted to be a astrophysicist, but that kind of went by the wayside. And I really got into it, I guess, when I moved into an apartment in Brigantine, New Jersey in 1977. I found this old Tasco telescope up in the attic, and I took it out and put it on the deck and saw the moon. And from then I was hooked.
Yeah, I hear you. That's how a lot of people get started, with those small little Tasco telescopes.
Yeah.
Great. So how did you get involved with the Southern Cross Astronomical Society?
Well, I was a member of the South Jersey Astronomy Club.
Okay.
And several of our members used to go down to the Winter Star Party. And when I moved to Florida, I moved to the Miami area and I immediately joined the nearest astronomy club, which was Southern Cross.
Oh, okay.
2005 was my first year at the Winter Star Party. And I've only missed one since.
Fantastic. So those of you that don't know, why don't you just give us a little history of when the Winter Star Party began and exactly what it is.
Okay, so the Winter Star Party began in 1984, and it began as an event to raise funds to build an observatory in Miami for Southern Cross members. It was started by Tippy Dioria. Back then, it was held at Mahogany Hammock, and it was just a weekend event for the first 3 years. The next 3 years, they moved down to Camp Sawyer, which is on West Summerlin Key, sometimes known as Scout Key. And then 3 years later, they moved next door to Camp Wassumpke, which is a Girl Scout camp. And we have been there ever since. This will be our 38th year.
Wow. What's the attendance like on average?
Well, it's declined over the years for various reasons. Of course, last year we didn't have the Star Party, but
right.
I would say 10 years ago, we easily would get between 600 and 650 people.
Oh, that's
now our average attendance is about 350.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out here on the West Coast, we had the Riverside Telescope Makers Conference for many, many years, and they stopped it. I think 2 years ago, they stopped holding it because the attendance just really dwindled. It was really, really unfortunate. Well, hopefully that's not the demise of the Winter Star Party. Hope it's going strong.
Well, I think that astronomy kind of waned for a little while. I'm really not sure why, but in the last 18 months, there has literally been an explosion. Astronomy equipment is so difficult to get right now.
That's very true. Well, people have time on their hands right now and disposable income.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's.
Well, I think it was busy lifestyles, plus
Mm-hmm.
the cost of transportation.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was another factor.
Now, are most of the attendees local, or do they come from everywhere?
Actually, it would come from all over the world.
Okay. All right. So last year, as you mentioned, you didn't hold it. It was a virtual conference. What exactly did you guys do last year?
Well, we were going to hold the Star Party, and we actually sold about 150 tickets.
Oh.
But through, local restrictions and federal restrictions, it just seemed like it was not a responsible thing to do.
Understand.
So we canceled the Star Party, and we put our heads together and tried to figure out what we would do. And we decided we would try to do something virtual. One of the main reasons we did that is because we have a close relationship with Scott Roberts,
okay,
the president of Explore Scientific.
Right. Scott's been on this podcast.
Oh, well, I'm sure Scott's been everywhere.
Scott is everywhere.
Yeah. And he showed us how we could reach literally tens of thousands of people, mm-hmm. and actually took over the broadcasting of the event for us.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, he does a daily Star Party just about through Explore Scientific. Yeah.
One of our members, Sergio Figuera,
mm-hmm.
he worked for Telemundo. So he is very, very familiar with, television equipment. And, he actually produced the entire thing literally by himself.
Wow.
It took 3 months. Yeah, it was an amazing effort. And when it was all said and done, we actually reached 47,000 people.
Holy mackerel.
With a viewership of at least 2 nights by 26,000 people.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Wow. Now, was it specifically just, you can't really hold a Star Party, or did you have telescopes set up with videos and things like that? How did you do that?
No, we didn't have any telescopes set up because we were still, live streaming was sort of like coming into its own at that point. Like now it's, it's like an everyday thing. But What we did is we had several dozen speakers, and we used some archival footage from some of our more notable speakers in the past, and we did door prize drawings as well.
Fantastic. Now, was there any thought to do that again this year?
I'm sorry?
Was there any idea to do that again this year for 2022?
No, not really. We're thinking about trying to maybe set up some live streaming.
Okay.
From, down in the vendor area, or maybe, give a virtual tour.
Okay.
Of the Star Party grounds once everybody's in place.
Okay. Kind of like a hybrid between doing it live and make it accessible to people that can't travel.
Right.
Okay, great. Yeah. I know doing this podcast, I've used Zoom for a while to record the podcast. And prior to COVID, everybody that came on the podcast, I basically had to train them how to use Zoom. Well, now everyone has used Zoom, and it's, I don't have to do that anymore, that's an advantage of this too.
Yeah, we actually held several of our board meetings by Zoom. And in all honesty, I'm really more like of a people kind of contact kind of person.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that we can meet, in person again.
Yeah, the ALPO itself, we have an annual conference, and for the last 2 years, it's been held on Zoom, which it's gone really well. And like you said, the attendance, you're not limited.
Right.
We had people from all over the world come on that. So let's talk about the Winter Star Party. So where is it held?
Okay, the Winter Star Party is held at Camp Wassumpke and Camp Sawyer, which is West Summerlin Key in Florida.
Okay.
It's sometimes called Scout Key. It's 30 miles east of Key West and 7 miles west of Marathon.
Okay. All right. And what's the sky conditions like for the event?
It's pretty amazing. When you are on the camp, the way the keys are oriented, you're looking due east into just inky black skies.
Wow.
East, southeast, and a little bit into the west. The light dome from Marathon, you can see the light dome from Marathon. And you can just barely discern, the light dome from Key West. But other than that, it's pretty dark. I would say that we have the last reading I took with the SQM was 23.76, something like that. And I think we're like maybe Bortle 2.
Wow.
It's pretty dark.
Oh, my goodness. That's fantastic. And the weather, obviously it's Florida, so it's should be nice temperatures and things like that on average.
The air down there is very stable. It's really, really spectacular images of the planets. And the biggest thing, one of our biggest draws is that you can come down and view southern targets that you can't see from anywhere else in the United States. Right.
Yeah. Because, most people don't. Yeah. Going that far south, they'll have objects available.
Right.
Great. So what are the dates for the upcoming event?
The Winter Star Party is always held during new moon in February. This year, it will be January 31st through February 6th.
That's a long event.
Yeah, it's a week.
Yeah. Wow.
Full week.
Wow. And you have activities and things during that?
Yeah, we have speakers, several speakers. We also, we have things like beach walk. One of the members of our sister club, the Florida Keys Astronomy Club, is a park ranger. So he does a nature walk. We also have a night sky laser tour on one evening prior to when everybody gets all fired up with the imaging.
Okay.
The Star Party is a big imagers Star Party. We have a lot of observers,
Mm-hmm.
but it's pretty much 50-50.
Yeah. A lot of people come down for the dark sky and the steady seeing.
The steady seeing the most.
Yeah. Yeah. So talked about registration? Is it open? What's the cost? What do you get with the registration?
Well, registration is on our website, and our website is www.scas.org.
Okay.
So it's www.scas.org.
Okay, and I'll put a link for that in the show notes so people can just go there and click on it. Great.
And all you have to do is click on the registration page and take it from there.
Okay, what's the cost?
The cost runs, a ticket is $175.
Okay.
And a camping fee is $125. So that entitles you to camp with your tent anywhere on the facility.
Okay. Is there RV parking too there?
We have RV, no, I'm not going to say RV parking, dedicated parking with hookups, but we do allow RVs.
Okay.
And we usually get 30 or 40, or 50 people, with RVs.
Okay. Is it dry camping then, no hookups?
Yeah, no hookups.
Okay. All right.
There's no power on the Girl Scout camp because when the camp was destroyed by the last hurricane, they elected not to redo the electric and not to rebuild the facilities. So it's rustic camping.
Oh my!
That's when we brought Camp Sawyer into the picture because the Boy Scouts have a full facility. They have showers, bathrooms, electric. One of the new things that they've done, they have these things called the glam tents. And it's a metal framework canvas structure that is a giant tent. It has electric and air conditioning.
Really?
And you can stay in that tent for $300 per person and the price of your ticket. So for $475, you actually don't have to pitch a tent and sleep on an air mattress or however you choose to sleep. There's a cot with a mattress. You need to bring your own bedding, but it's really, really nice. It's pretty plush.
Huh. That sounds cool. So
you can see them on our website when you go to register.
Okay, and I'll link that in the show notes as well, so people can easily access those things. So the activities you mentioned, obviously a star party. Do you have tours and things like that also set up, or?
Not necessarily. There's a lot to do in the area. Key West is only 30 miles away.
Okay.
Marathon, there's a whole bevy of outstanding restaurants in Marathon. But I would say the biggest attraction would be Key West. Okay.
Now, along with the registration, is there a meal plan or something like that you have as well?
Yes. Our food vendor is Mickey's Kitchen, GC Stickle. And they provide prepaid meal plans along with a, pretty upbeat menu.
Right.
One of the things that Mickey's Kitchen is famous for is their brownies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Last year, one of our most sought out door prize was a pan of Mickey's brownies.
That's great. I like that.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, anybody who has been to the Winter Star Party has gone up to Mickey's Kitchen in the middle of the night to get a hot chocolate and brownie.
There you go. That sounds like perfect observing food.
It is.
That's great. That's great. Now, you have sponsors?
Not really.
No?
The only sponsor for the Star Party is actually Southern Cross Astronomical Society.
Oh, wow.
We don't really seek any funding or anything like that. The Star Party pretty much pays for itself.
Great. Yeah, you mentioned early on, if I was back up a little bit, that it was originally started to build an observatory in the area.
Yes.
Has that ever
And
come to fruition?
yes, that actually came to fruition. I believe it's 10 years now. We bought a piece of property out in the Redlands, which is west of Miami. It's an agricultural area. It's just maybe a mile and a half east of the Everglades. So we have nice dark skies to the south and to the west. It's an acre and a half.
Mm-hmm.
We have a fully robotic observatory with a paramount and a tech scope.
Oh, wow.
With high-end camera and filters, and it's all operated from the comfort of your living room over the internet.
Oh, that's wild.
So you can open the dome, image, download your data, close the dome, process it, and process it at home.
Now, is that specifically for SCAS members?
Yes, it's for members only.
Okay. Wow, that's quite a benefit.
Yeah, we also have several telescopes housed out at the property for our members. If you don't have equipment, you can go out there anytime you want, set up a telescope, observe for as long as you want, as long as you put it away, lock up the trailer, lock up the property, you're good to go.
Huh. That's a great benefit.
Yeah.
Now, what about vendors? Will you have vendors set up at the site as well?
Oh, yeah. We have a slew of vendors. Most I like to name, the people that really support us the most. Celestron, Teleview. I don't know if you're familiar with Camera Concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Norwood. Of course, Scott from Explorer Scientific. Tom Peters from Disc Mounts. Our clothing vendor is Infinities. We have one of our vendors who came on board the year before last is Cliff Whitney from Atlanta Hobby. Pac's son, Howie Gladder's wife. Okay. She comes and represents his products for Starlight Instruments. Yuri comes every year from Telescope Engineering. Daystar Filters, just to name a few.
Great. And most of those vendors, they supply door prizes as well?
Absolutely.
Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah. Let's see. Marcus Ludis from APM Telescopes. He comes every year. We picked up, do you know Nottingham Precision Astro Engineering?
No, I do not.
Dave Saris. They make a really amazing diagonal. Terry Mann from the Astronomical League.
Right.
Matt Heil from Simulation Curriculum. They provide us with operating codes or download codes for Sky Safari Pro and Starry Night. Richard Wright, Software Bisque.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if, let's see, we get door prizes from Overwork, Skywatcher, Ursa Major, Wilman Bell Publishers. So, they were sold this year. Bob's Knobs. Actually, I send out probably 150 letters every year. I'm also the vendor coordinator for the Winter Star Party.
All right. So putting an event together like this, like last year was virtual, and now with I'm on the West Coast, so our conditions and restrictions are a lot greater than what you have in Florida currently. But did you make any special rules or things like that in going into having the event this time?
Not really.
Okay.
We felt that it was important that we would observe all precautions and, things that were recommended by the CDC.
Right.
But we also felt that those who wanted to protect themselves in any way they see fit were welcome to do so.
Yeah. Now the event is 100% outside, right?
100%.
So that's a whole different ballgame there too.
Right.
Unlike a conference or things like that is inside of a building. Okay. Well, good. Well, Russ, do you have anything else you'd like to add and plug about the event?
Well, we have a pretty interesting array of speakers planned.
Oh, let's hear it.
Of course, John O'Neill, who is a big solar imager.
Oh, yeah. There. I know John.
Charlie Warren from Amateur Astronomy Magazine. Of course, Richard Wright will do a presentation.
Right.
Mike Lockwood from Lockwood Custom Optics. We are pulling in, hopefully, these are some people that we are trying to make arrangements with right now. James Alberry and Dean Regas. They were the two gentlemen who took over Jack Horkheimer's Stargazer show.
Oh, yeah.
Also, a gentleman by the name of Atta Sardigiamini. He is a physics professor at Florida Atlantic, and he is a primary participant in the Hubble program. And a woman, her name is Kate Dickinson. She's actually studying terraforming on Mars. And hold on one second. Oh, geez, I lost her. She was just involved in a isolation program, I think out in Arizona, simulating conditions on Mars.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that.
Yeah. So we're trying to get her to come in.
Wow.
That's about it. We are hoping to be able to provide the same experience as we have always done with all the COVID restrictions or paranoia might be a good word. I'm not sure. We don't want people to be afraid to come to the Star Party.
Right.
You may take whatever precaution that you feel is necessary, and we will do the same. All of our staff is vaccinated, and that's about it.
That sounds great. I really wish I could make it. I've never had the opportunity or the pleasure to be there for this, but you're doing a good sales job on it. I would definitely like to do it in the future.
It really is for me, it was a bucket list thing. When I first came down here, I had to go to the Winter Star Party, and I was not disappointed. Yeah,
I'm looking at my schedule, and I was like, I will be in Florida at the end of February, so not at the beginning. That's unfortunate. Maybe next year I'll make it down there. All right, Russ. All right, Russ. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast today. And
it was my pleasure. Thank you very much.
And I want to wish you a lot of luck with the event.
Thank you. Right. Hopefully we won't need it, but we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Great. Good talking to you.
You too.
Well, that'll do it for this episode of the Observer's Notebook podcast. I guess again want to thank our guest, Russ Brink, for coming on and giving us a good discussion about the upcoming Winter Star Party. I hope everyone can get out there and enjoy it. We upload new episodes of the Observer's Notebook every few weeks. You can subscribe to us on iTunes. If you do, please rate and review us. I really appreciate it. You can also listen to us on Apple Radio, iHeartRadio, Soundcloud, Spreaker, Google Play, Stitcher, Amazon Echo, and Spotify. You can help support the podcast by donating to it via Patreon by giving up to $35 a month, where you will receive 1 year's membership to the ALPO and producer credits on the podcast. With that, I want to thank the producers of this podcast, Steve Siedentop and Michael Moyer, for their generous support. Thank you very much. The link for Patreon, as well as the link for the ALPO, is in the show notes. If you want to get a hold of me, my email address is cometman@cometman.net, or I'm also out there on Twitter at @observersnbpod. Until next time, my hope is that you have clear and steady skies. Thanks for listening.